As always, one focus, because it's your life, the cost of living, and how the Prime Minister just will ignore it because he's under no pressure from the media to talk about it. Perfect example, petrol prices. As you know, decision was made by the previous government to slash by 22 cents the amount of petrol that you have to, the price of the petrol that you have to buy. That decision will expire very shortly. And the person who will make the decision to increase petrol prices by 22 cents a litre, every car, every truck, every van, every smart car, is of course Jim Chalmers, who says this about the cost of living.
Australians knew that this was coming, but it won't make it any easier for them to handle.
I think people appreciate a bit of blunt talk and a bit of real talk about the challenges that we've been handed. We can weather the storm together, but there will be some heavy weather. I'd rather be upfront with people about that so that they know what we are confronting together. And that means real wages are still going backwards substantially.
Now, that's the reality. Now, one thing he does have total control of, nothing cyclical, his pen can make the decision, is the decision to extend this particular relief, 22 cents. And if you are somebody who has to drive professionally from a living, from an Uber driver through to a truck driver, delivery person, all the rest of it, let alone the hairdresser who goes from home to work, they could fix this problem, but they won't. And it's people in real suburban Australia who are feeling the pinch even more. There's a great series which is popping up in the News Corp papers around the country right now, and I want to turn to the one from the Daily Telegraph today, which cites the problems for suburban mums right now. Stacey says, everything is getting more expensive, but our pay doesn't change. And she's onto it because she's living it. And as we told you last week, according to the Bureau of Statistics, real wages have fallen. See that high spike? That was into 2020, the pandemic. But after the pandemic and into and post the election, down, down, down. So now your real wages will buy you what you could pay for in 2011. Meantime, the reporter for the Telegraph went and had a chat to somebody at the car park of the Aldi in Mount Druitt. They met a lady called Jessica. She explains that she does whatever she can to try to keep her food bills in check. For example, she buys meat in bulk. She shakes her head when discussing the price of fresh food, such as strawberries and lettuce. But you can't say no to your kids, can you? That's the world we live in right now. And slowly but surely, people are starting to notice. I'm pleased to say that others are catching on. We were first. We will keep going on it because we know it matters to you. 88% of Australians care about the cost of living and inflation. Yet the do-nothing government that we have right now thinks that they can get away with holding talkfests, summits, and pretend they have no power whatsoever. But I repeat, their pen could extend a 22 cent a litre saving for the next 6 months. It's exactly what should happen. Pauline Hanson believes in that, and I'll talk to her about it in a couple of moments' time. Also, the study that was done today in the Daily Telegraph showed that guess where cost of living pressures are at their worst? The further you get away from a teal seat. Funnily enough, as I told you, the Tiffany teals, the oh-so-rich, they could take care of themselves. They, of course, are able to, many of those people, not all the people in the electorate, but the majority of those people in the electorate, thanks to the preference system that we have, they are largely impact-free from a little more this, a little less that. Their staff can go and pick things up for them. They won't notice the Woolies or the Coles bill. But in Western Sydney, where a true local independent, Di Lee, was asked about this today, she pointed out that the politicians don't understand it. They don't know what's happening really on the ground. And it's at all levels of government where things are going up, and the people who should be trying to look for ways to alleviate costs are finding new ways to put costs on you. Perfect example, Canada Bay Council in Sydney. They voted to put a proposal to the public for consultation for not a 5, not a 10, not a 15, not a 20, not a 25, not even a 30% increase in their rates. They want to increase rates by 32.5% over the next 4 years. Cost of living is crushing Australians. It's the highest it's been in 32 years. Your real wages buy what you could buy in 2011, not 2022. The Sydney Morning Herald, who wrote about this today, said an internal report said that the council was, quote, unable to continue to provide services at current levels within currently available revenues. So what's the solution? Do we cut back on the size of the council? No. We make the people who already don't have money to pay for meat including older people who aren't heating their homes in the middle of winter, and repeat again for cooling in summer. People who already are paying record prices when it comes to petrol. No. Let's give them an increase in their local taxes. They're putting it to the people for consultation. If the people of Canada Bay don't come back with hell no, stick it up your jumper, then honestly, what's the consultation process? Perhaps an idea for Canada Bay Council or every other council that's thinking about increasing its rates by as much as 32% is, why not cut the size of your council? You see, on their own website, they say that more than 320 employees who are full-time, part-time, job-sharing, temporary and contract positions, that's the size of the council. Can anyone on Canada Bay Council legitimately tell me that every single one of the 320 people who work part-time, full-time, contract for that council absolutely is earning their wage? And as always, I go and have a look at the positions vacant on their website, and there's a diversity and inclusion position that's going to pay about $70,000. Dare I say, if you don't have enough money to pick up the garbage and to fix the potholes, perhaps we can hold off on yet another diversity officer before we turn around and add 32% increase in council rates. But again, these people live in this other world where diversity officers are way more important than the capacity of their residents to pay rates each and every year. Now, that's, of course, what is the main game. That's what every suburban house is talking about in Australia, but it's not as exciting as talking about the former Prime Minister.